We're WaterWise New York City. Thank you for your patience. I'm going to just introduce us really fast. So we have Shay, we have Eli, Jack, myself, who's Ryan, and we have Max and Cathy.
So the waterways are an integral part of the New York City landscape, and over the years they've been greatly impacted by climate change, pollution, as well as extensive waterfront development. And so through this lens, we saw an opportunity to build a more equitable, resilient, and healthier waterfront for all New Yorkers. So we asked ourselves, how can we, as art and cultural managers, implement life-centered thinking and practices to optimize sustainable urban initiatives? And furthermore, in what ways can we reinforce the opportunities available right in our neighborhoods and make culture an intrinsic part of climate action? So in light of this, we chose to find WaterWise NYC, which is a waterfront advocacy organization which fosters collaboration among various organizations that transform how we interact with our waterways through innovative projects, policymaking, and community initiatives. So our programming will be anchored by an educational, artistic, and action-oriented events throughout the year across all 5 boroughs, and will lead up to an annual symposium which engages a wide array of our environmental and cultural partners. So both the symposium and satellite events provide opportunities to cultivate a greater commitment to the ecological and cultural value of protecting our waterfronts.
Hi again. So, waterfront access, it's an issue of equity. Lack of access is more common in lower socioeconomic communities, and many of these communities are home to people of color. So these factors indicate a lack of waterfront access. It parallels to societal inequities. So we want to leverage a variety of these strategies, and they're aimed to improve waterfront open spaces. This includes economic development, climate resiliency, and the protection of ecosystems. So we plan to plug existing gaps in waterfront access listed above in order to create forward-facing initiatives that thousands of New Yorkers who previously lacked access. So, as you can see on this chart, the Department of City Planning, by the Department of City Planning, they determined that more than 800,000 New Yorkers live within a half-mile of waterfronts in New York, but lack public access to a public access point within that walking distance. So a waterfront public access area is located in all 5 boroughs throughout them, and together they encompass over 1 million square feet of publicly accessible open space. That's a lot of land. So this chart is a telling reflection of disparities in access between the different boroughs, and the more glaring examples can be seen on this chart in Brooklyn and the Bronx. Then we have our target audience. So our target audience, we have 18 to 34-year-olds in New York City. We have families, we have the everyday activists, which includes students, volunteer opportunities, and then tourists and fun seekers. One of our leading things with tourists and fun seekers is that most waterway activities include a great photo op. This is a great way to get people involved, engaged, and on socials as well.
Sometimes in New York, it's easy to forget you live on an island. We're here to foster environmental and cultural stewardship through education and storytelling on our city's waterways. New York Harbor had an ecosystem that sustained the local Lenape people for generations. There were over 220,000 acres of oyster reefs. Whales, dolphins, seahorses, herring, striped bass, and hundreds of other species thrived. It was one of the most diverse and dynamic environments on the planet. Throughout New York's history, people of all socioeconomic backgrounds have enjoyed the plethora of life and food that could be sourced from the city's waterways. Since then, pollutants of all kinds have been dumped into the waterways. The New York Harbor was left nearly lifeless at the turn of the century. Today, we recognize an opportunity to build capacity around the ecological and cultural value of New York City's waterways. This is a call to action for collaboration across the cultural and environmental sectors. By facilitating meaningful conversation and activity, we will foster a sense of stewardship among all New Yorkers.
So for our pilot year of events, we identified key world water dates to host various events throughout all seasons and all boroughs. So we chose to anchor our main symposium in late August during World Water Week, and we will then have a series of events leading up to the symposium in order to kickstart the conversation and build momentum. And then we will also host at least one event afterwards in order to keep the conversation moving forward before transitioning into the following year of programming.
So with our goal of reaching out to the entire New York City population while engaging with locations across the city, we have curated our events in each borough, including them in locations that are easily accessible via the New York City Ferry and other forms of public transportation. This would also help us encourage sustainable travel. As you can see on our map, we plan to host events such as cleanups, hands-on activities, exploration programming, and more. Now Ryan will take us through a more focused view of some of our events.
Hello. So we're starting out in the Bronx. 53% of waterfront residents in the Bronx don't have direct access to the waterfront within a half-mile walk of their homes. So significant gaps in the open space access can be found along the industrial waterfronts, such as Westchester Creek, which is in the Bronx. So there have been strong opportunities to strengthen connections with innovative design and safety improvements within this borough. The Bronx River Greenway is a really great example of that, that we've used here for our first event. It's leveraged transit and connectivity, and it serves those disconnected with their shorelines in the Bronx. So our exploration of this greenway with local guides and historians can help build capacity in this borough while promoting outdoor recreation and education as well.
And in April, we'll make our way to Staten Island to visit the Snug Harbor Cultural Center with a focus on wetland restoration. So wetlands are flooded or saturated lands that are or are near the ground surface for varying periods during the year. So in Staten Island specifically, there's a large wetland there's a lot of wetland systems that have proved extreme importance with help during 2012 when Hurricane Sandy hit. It provided a natural buffer from rising waters, and the restoration of these wetlands would help absorb the impact of large storms and protect communities. In this event specifically, any families participating will be able to go on an exploration tour, along with also helping to plant some native plants and restore the habitats that currently exist.
So in July, we'll go to Governor's Island and host farming on a floating forest. This will be at Swale House, which is founded by artist Mary Mattingly. Swale House is an art and ecology lab whose mission is to enhance the quality and responsible use of public waterways. Participants will learn about saltwater farming potential and visit Lotic Shoal, a set of barges dedicated to climate resilience and farming, designed as artworks that respond to water and indigenous ecologies.
So one of our partners, the American Museum of Natural History, will host our symposium, Waterways Reimagined, exploring the intersections of environmental resiliency, art, and social impact in New York's waterway systems. The programming will include ticketed presentations by artists, environmentalists, activists, and scholars. Additionally, family activities will be available for general admission, providing hands-on activities for kids. Participants will have the opportunity to gain a deeper understanding of the complex relationship between New York waterways and its communities, as well as exploring creative solutions for building a more sustainable and resilient future for our 5 boroughs. And so here's a mock overview of the weekend. On Friday, field trips will pilot the setup in the Hall of Ocean Life before it opens to the general public for the weekend. The Hall of the Universe will host more events for ticket holders, including the orientation and reception, ticketed lectures, and the after-hours events like a bar and oyster shucking opportunity. The Lafrac Theater will be used for roundtable talks, film screenings, and other presentations.
And now we'll take a brief look at our 3-year plan. So while we start our programs in the pilot year focusing on developing sustainable waterways along with a number of organizations that are currently doing the groundwork in New York City, we hope to continue with that same approach in the next 3 years with WaterWise, each year picking a different theme to focus on in relation to the water ecosystem. The selection of our theme would allow WaterWise to arrange and select partners, organizations for the curation of the year's satellite events and symposium. This approach would allow us to continue to reach our target audience in meaningful ways while encouraging them to be action-oriented in ways they never would have imagined. The development of new themes each year would also help us grow our network and continue to expand across the city as pressures of climate change become more intense. So as you can see here, we have our themes established for the next 3 years, along with potential partners that fit within those themes to help us continue to reach our mission.
So I'm just going to give a brief overview of our media strategy. For our earned media plan, we're going to engage our private sector sponsors and partners like the ferry and other alternative and sustainable transportation companies, as well as the tech sector with apps like Google Arts and Culture and The Nudge. So we'll co-market with them through in-app integrations, giveaways, event sponsorships, and curated experiences. In addition, it's going to be essential to make a concerted effort to reach our target audiences. So we've identified other outlets like the New York Times and podcast and TV, radio spots like WNYC, 92nd Street Y, and CBS Sunday mornings. For our paid social media strategy, it's targeted mostly towards Gen Z and millennial New Yorkers, and we're going to be very specific about capturing that really unique appeal of New York City to tell a story. We'll commission an awareness and action campaign with a curated group of New York City-centric influencers, inspired in part by this iconic New York Magazine cover that came out last year, Reasons to Love New York. The campaign objective is to make content highlighting the New York waterways through the lens of socio-cultural history, transportation, access, and of course, sustainability. And then we'll also look to do some outdoor advertising for some more hyperlocal targeting.
So here goes the overview of our financial plan. Our total income plan for the first year will be approximately $734,000. As a startup organization, grants and contribution will be our primary income source. We will seek sponsorship from partners of our parties, generate income from community campaign, and explore opportunity for government support, such as NHE grants and New York City Comprehensive Waterfront Plan support. We will also have income from our 6 special events and the annual symposium. In addition, sales, subscription, and membership fee from our publication, magazines, and annual report will also contribute to our revenue. And for the expense side, it will be a total around $712,000. There will be 3 employee individuals in our key positions, while other positions will be part-time, freelance, or contracted roles. We have the chance to take advantage of partnership and co-producing, as we are already trying to connect and bridge all the waterway-related parties to save on the personnel and program expense. The major annual water symposium will take up about 52% of the program expense, and the remaining funds were distributed evenly across all other events. We will see about 3% of the year income to invest in our future programs. In the future, we aim to increase our program service ratio to serve the New York City waterway-related community better. By carefully managing the budget, WaterWise is looking forward to a more vibrant New York City waterfront while maintaining our financial sustainability.
Okay, so as far as delivering impact, we'll use these following indicators: attendance and awareness, digital presence, and data collection. We are also sure to create a DEAI plan. At its core, WaterWise promotes diversity, equity, accessibility, and inclusion in a way that emphasizes the intersectional nature of how city infrastructure and transport systems impact underserved groups, while highlighting the indigenous history of the land and the role that indigenous peoples played prior to and during the colonization of New York.
And just to conclude, we have identified a gap in engagement and awareness regarding innovative sustainability initiatives being applied along New York City's waterways. Our goal is to fill this gap through education, awareness, networking, and collaboration. We aim to support our UN Sustainable Development Goals 9, Industry, Innovation, and Infrastructure, 11, Sustainable Cities and Communities, 13, Climate Action, and 14, Life Below Water. As WaterWise NYC supports the rich history of New York City's oyster and maritime ecosystem, where history, culture, art, and climate action intersect. Thank you.